This is going to be my thoughts on his matchups at the moment. None of this is concrete. This is just early impressions. Do not, I gotta do the disclaimer. You know how this goes. Do not take this as its law. It's not. And my time on the game is I've been streaming this game literally non-stop over the weekend, but that's a little precursor to it. Bottom line is the character is definitely a fun character, and these are just my opinions on his matchups. All right, so moving forward, disclaimer all out the way, let's talk about his matchups. All right, so there's some matchups I definitely need more playtime in. I'm gonna knock those out straight up. Fairy is definitely a match I'm not sure about. This was Anila, not sure, not enough playtime. Avatar Belial, definitely not enough playtime. Definitely not enough playtime. I haven't fought that character like at all. Luane, not enough playtime. Definitely not. Henri, I think I fought this guy one time in ranked and it's like, okay, cool. So now that I've knocked out the anomalies and question marks that I don't really have much of a clue about, let's talk about characters. And this seems good. I would say right now, and this seems good, definitely the Diva. Mostly because the Diva is just slow. So Grimnir's, seal dashes allow him to escape a lot of situations. He doesn't have to deal with a lot of the Diva stuff. But of course, if you get caught, you have to hold some stuff for a little bit. You can guard cancel the Diva off and then seal dash away and not have to deal with that character at all and just go back to square one. That's the same thing with Vasaraga. These two characters, you just kind of choose how you want to fight them. You can fight them however you want. You know what I mean? But generally speaking, you don't want to really get near them unless it's on your terms. AKA, you land a good hit based on them making mistakes, and then you get to go ham. And then when that's over, you don't bother. You just kind of let them do their thing. Run the clock. You have all the mobility in the world. They're just too slow to catch you. Soris is kind of like in this position too, but Soris can force the situation with rush punches and then his ultimate skill. But I'll just say it seems pretty good. Like if you lose this matchup, it's kind of sort of your fault. Yes, if Soris gets next to you, he's going to be mashing plus frames for days. So your goal is not to let yourself get caught in that situation. So as long as you're doing good in that regard, playing good neutral, like to me, these three just kind of lose to just Grimnir playing good, lame, neutral. So don't go too crazy. She's along the same line as Soris. Charlotta. Like, these two characters can kind of go here. But generally speaking, as long as your neutral play is good, I mean, she has no range. You literally outrange her a lot. And in before someone says you can get around the tornadoes, you can get around stuff. Yeah, true. But when you lack a lot of range, it can be kind of bad. Of course, just like Soris and anyone here, if they get next to you, it will be a problem. So you're forced to guard cancel. Someone else might come back in here, I'm not sure yet. Let me just keep moving forward. Gran, it's Gran. It's even. He's not doing anything super special. The more I keep fighting Jita, the more I think it's pretty even. At first I thought it was kind of rough, but I realized even more now than ever, like, for the most part even. There's these two just kind of like, they don't really do anything super special. And yeah, I should knock out Cat too. This is even. I think all of these are even. Like, all have good fireballs that can contest him, which is good. I do feel like if he blocks any one of these characters' DPs and they're in the corner, they lost 8.4k off rip with the right resources. And if not with those resources, you'll get 7k. So you lose one case or so, like you lose like 1500 points worth of damage if you don't have an extra ultimate skill. So, but he doesn't have any major advantages outside of mobility. I'll just say this, the biggest advantage Grimnir has against the entire roster as a whole is his mobility. That's the biggest thing he's got over everyone in the game. The more I fought Matera, seems pretty even. Like, she can keep you out for a good bit, and she can throw arrows in areas where you want to move, but it's a 50-50, right? If they're wrong, you get in, and then it's party time. But she can hold it down and control the movement with arrows. So that's what makes it even. If it wasn't for her arrows and how she can kind of control some of those areas, it would be and seems pretty damn good. But because she can, I'd say it's even. The more I keep fighting Siegfried, I think it's even. I don't think he has anything super special kind of going on for him in the matchup. I feel like it's another one of those situations where he's kind of like the other slower big bodies in the sense that he's not that fast, but he does have a fireball to kind of like cover the screen. So like that can be a little problematic in terms of mobility, but it's not that bad. And much like any character, I'll throw it out here, any character with a DP special move, with the exception at the moment that I've tested with Sori's, because his ultimate skill uppercut kick is like -7. But anyone with like -9 and up, Grim will most likely snatch your life bar pretty hard. Narmaya's seems pretty even. What's interesting about her is when she gets on Grim, it's annoying to get her off, and she does have pretty good anti-projectile ultimate skills to get next to him. So, and she counter pokes him a lot. Once she gets started and she's in range, she can counter poke. Her on block punishment isn't the best against him, so that's where like you can take advantage of her, but you can't just zone her out for free, at least until she gets 50 meter. If she gets 50 skybound gauge, then it's annoying because she might use one of those anti-projectile moves to get next to you. Lance, I think Lance for the most part's even. It can get kind of rough, but you have to keep Lance's mobility in check, which is funny, right? Like if you throw tornadoes and you make them stay in place, it hinders him from using his lunge. So if you can kind of slow that move down, then he has to fight you more honest with his normals. He can throw his fireball too, but I mean, if he spends EX skill on his fireball and you've tossed tornado, you can use your bumper dashes or your seal dashes just to avoid it. And it doesn't travel full screen for the most part, if I recall right. So you don't have to stress it if you have a lot of screen space. And if you have seals behind you, which you should in that matchup, then you can seal dash back and just watch it dissipate. So I think it's just a matter of using your mobility once again to kind of play around Lance. Much like any other character, if Lance gets next to you, much like these two up here, it can be annoying. But I feel like as long as you can keep him in check mobility wise and like not letting him use his lunge attack, you're good. This is gonna come as probably a surprise to some people, but I think CAG is 5-5. I think this is a match where your mobility is paramount, no different than the big bodies. CAG can't cover all angles, and her buttons don't reach as far. Her set play will definitely kill you, but I mean, most people look at CAG and just like, oh, well, it's CAG. And I mean, there's not much else to say, you know? CAG is just CAG. Like, she does her thing, you do your thing. Whoever really gets started, for the most part, wins. Like, it can feel like a one-sided match if you do it right. Like, if you play it right, it can definitely be favorable. But you can never count this character out because her set play goes beyond knocking you down. Her set play is setting up the screen for, like, you know, getting to the Legends of the Hidden Temple. And the good thing is, like, you know, Grim has the mobility to play around those areas. So it's not bad. It's not bad. Probably Beelzebub. He doesn't do anything special. It just feels like you have really good neutral against him, and you can play the mobility game against him because he has big committal normals. But I would say, like, if he hits you, it can hurt. Actually, he might pop back into the seams good. Because what his options are, they're like solid, but like they don't really, I feel like it's just not that amazing. His neutral's good, but so is yours. I'd say his biggest advantage in the matchup is his fireball. The way the talents are when they line up for the EX one, or the B version, I think it is. I forget which versions, but either way, it's really good to cover the seal dashes. They're pretty good. But other than that, like, I think Grip pretty much kind of dances on him. But like if you play it poorly, it'll be even. But I think it seems good. My bad. He's the one of the character I think that's in seems good. Percival. It's just neutral. Like yeah, he hits hard, but that's anyone in this game. If he whiffs, he could die. Like that's the big thing about him. If he whiffs, he can lose. His fireball game is good, but so is yours. He can't really get charges for free unless he hits you. Of course, he can throw a round start, charge up his freaking gauge, of course. But like once he starts running out of those abilities, it's kind of like, okay, you can still use ultimate skill version and whatnot, but nothing feels too out of place. It just feels like, yeah, he's got good stuff, and so do you. It just seems even. Nothing. It's kind of like the Shotos. He kind of rests here, I guess, if you will. Let's see. I think that's about it for like 5/5s. Well, no, Eustace is 5/5. Sorry, I forgot. I fought a really good Eustace last night. Definitely even. I didn't understand at first, but like the more I played, I was like, oh, okay, these are the type of things that can happen. All right, Eustace can definitely put pressure on Grim, but it's the same. And he falls in line with every other DP character. If you DP poorly, you just get deleted. Like so far, I feel like he's the one character I've seen in the entire game who has like a DP punish combo where you just like that's it. Like you might have just fully lost that round. But Eustace has a lot of good buttons, a lot of good ways to play. So seems even. I thought it was rough at first though. Alright, now we're going into kinda rough. Let me go ahead and open up with Belial. I feel like Belial's like annoying, but it's not like you can't beat him. It can seem bad at first, but if you play in your neutral game right, space yourself properly, you can do well. If he gets next to you and he corners you, he's gonna be Buttons McGee. He's gonna be Buttons McGee. It just is what it is. But for what I can tell, a lot of this, in my opinion, is just gotta play lame against him. It's not super horrible. It's just annoying. Let's see here. Zoe's one of those in-betweeners where it's, for the most part, even, but it can be rough because she has Dragon Beam that covers your dash. So you do have to be careful with that. She does have her 6/6H, the shield into the sword stab. That seems like it's really good in neutral in general against his fireballs, or if you try to dash attack her. She has pretty good defensive options in neutral to just kind of slow the pace of the game down and play at her own tempo. So you kind of have to play a little bit more quote unquote erratic, more, you know, you have to play a little bit more tricky to beat Zoe. But it's not too bad. Like once you kind of like force her to stop using Dragon Beam, that is, then it goes roughly, then it goes into even. But I think like on average, if you're not playing like trickier, then it'll be kind of rough. So I'd say on average it's kind of rough. But again, nothing you can't outplay. UL is just another Buttons McGee character. It's just Yule's just a Buttonsy character. She's constantly hitting buttons in your face, doing a lot of annoying stuff. But you kind of have to deal with it for a little bit, deal with her trickiness. You kind of roll the dice against her a decent amount, unfortunately, unless you play like the lamest game of your life and don't let her get in. You know, she's like a better Charlotta in my opinion. Like for that type of playstyle, she's a better Charlotta. So if you play Charlotta, you might want to play that character. There's not too much to say. It's just she gets in your face, starts hitting buttons, and it's like, all right, can I get my turn back? No, okay, guard cancel. The end. Now let's play a little bit more neutral. Whatever. Vera has varying degrees, in my opinion, of where it can go. it can go pretty even if she's still in normal mode. It can get kind of rough when she's in her install. So it's kind of an in-betweener. If you can keep Vera out of her install, it's even. But I'm gonna throw it in kind of rough mostly because more than likely that player's gonna get their install somehow, some way. But your goal is to not let her get it. If you can do that, you can make it even. Her buttons are pretty good blow for blow against Grim. She does have a DP. It's like everyone else. But she has a more punishable DP because she goes sky high. So again, get cornered, you will lose 8k to 7k. But she has good pressure. She can hold herself down. She has her own set of mobility with her install. Like, she can be a menace. She can definitely be a menace. So, really good corner game character. Let's see. Might not have characters in bruh. Who knows? Zeta's another one of them. Like, at one point I thought Zeta was his worst matchup, but I'm starting to feel it's just mostly rough. And we might not even have a bruh section, who knows? But Zeta's just, she's just annoying to the point to where like you kind of have to play, you have to play really lame and kind of let her fight you and try to punish as much as possible. She does have a safe spear lunge that you can control. Obviously you can spot dodge the second one and try to punish her for going for it, but if they're smart, they're gonna go forward and then back and then bait your spot dodge, come back and then punish you. So you do have to be careful. I feel like if you corner Zeta, it's not as bad. She does have a pretty good counter. She does, I don't know, she has pretty good options in terms of just playing neutral, especially having a beam fireball that's pretty fast. Thankfully, Grim's fireball tornado is very good. I don't know, it's just a matchup. I think you just need to run away from this character. And like a lot of the matchups, like save for a few, you just gotta play lame. Like you can rush them down if you want, but like you're playing into their normals, and Zeta's normals are a lot better in my opinion than Grim's in the matchup. Okay, now we're getting into bruh. Let's go with the menace. Okay, most people have a tough time with this character. I'm gonna be the one to tell you guys, if your mobility is bad, this match is bruh. Why? If your movement is good and you're playing well, it fluctuates between all three of these. Like you can, if you have bad movement, you're here. If you have good movement, it can go here because you're staying away from the puppet. You're kind of doing your thing. And once you learn to shut down the puppet, it gets kind of even. And then once you scare them enough and they're not doing anything, it goes really good. But I think on average, it's rough if you don't know how to deal with the puppet. And even when you do know how to deal with the puppet, it can still be bad. So I'd say for the average player right about now, it's in bruh. As you climb with him, it'll just be kind of rough. But for the sake of, I'm gonna put her here for now. Her buttons aren't as good as Grim's for sure. It's the puppet that makes everything, honestly. But there's a lot of things that you can do with Grim to like slow down the puppet. The fact that you have 3 different ways to throw your tornado really makes it not as bad, especially with hold tornado to like slow down the puppet and make them think about where they're doing it in neutral. So it's really a dynamic matchup. I think on average, most people, they're just gonna try to run in and try to rush her down without any real rhyme or reason or understanding of like how you should try to beat the puppet. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to rush her down first, but what I'm saying is you should feel out the neutral. The matchup, in my opinion, is you should feel out the neutral with your tornadoes and see and get somewhat of an understanding of how they're throwing out their puppet. If they start using jump U, or they're just throwing out the puppet just in, out neutral, or they're hitting a lot of 5H, you can kind of get an idea. You know what I mean? And if you're doing that, then you're doing well, because Now you kind of understand what you need to do and the ranges you need to throw your tornado. And you slowly enter to the corner, and then you get to play. And that's when it goes. That's what I'm saying. This match fluctuates. It goes up and down on the scale. So it's a pretty dynamic matchup. So in other words, don't rush her down outright. Throw your tornadoes, and you can take this match from bruh to even, because you need to make them think. And now, this mofo. I think Seox is his worst matchup, like hands down. I thought it was Zeta, but I think it's Seox. I think this character is just, the counter opens up doors for him. His pressure game is good. He has good anti-projectile. He can move with you, like he can chase you down. He can just run at you and be scary and not do anything. But I had a really tough time fighting him. I feel like once I got cornered, it was a problem, which is the case with Grimnir in general. But Seox just like, oh, I did, you know, scratches, Rekkas, dash back, safe chip damage. And if you choose to use your guard cancel, you lost 1 brave point, and then he gets to kind of, you know, like, you're losing resources is my point, and he's not losing anything. So you have to really do your best to knock him away, and you can't fully play lame. You have to kind of play an in and out game and try to keep the game in the mid screen until you get to the corner on your terms. When you get to the corner on your terms, then you can fight, and it goes from bruh to like, all right, it's just kind of rough. But with Seox, it doesn't get any better. It doesn't really go from bruh to kind of rough to like pretty even. It goes here. Like, this match scales. It's still hard no matter what. But as you can see, like, he's got a pretty decent amount of good matchups, while everything else is kind of even to kind of rough. You just gotta, anything that's in kind of rough and bruh, you just gotta outplay. You have to outplay them. If you can outplay, if you take your time and understand you gotta play slow in some of these matchups, like, you can play slow with your movement. Despite him being really fast, you can still use your movement to like trick them into making mistakes. And once you do that, some of these matchups don't seem too bad. I think at the end of the day, the matches that are in bruh will just be kind of rough after some time. But everything in the not sure, I need more playtime. I have no idea. I don't have any clue about these characters, just to bring it round it back out. With that being said, again, just to kind of bring it back here and round it out, let you guys understand where I'm coming from. This is from playing Grimnir for well over 48 hours, approach at the 56 hour, 60 hour mark right about now, and just non-stop this character. And playing nothing but ranked, well over 1,000+ matches on this character, and I've just seen a lot already. Nothing set in stone. These matches will most likely get better over time. It's just a matter of just kind of grinding it out, knowing what goes where. So if you're interested in playing the character, this is about where it's going to be for the time being. Again, nothing set in stone. But that's going to do it for this video here. Talk to me in the comments below how you guys feeling about him. Are you guys having fun playing Grim? Who's beating you up? Let me know which character's beating you up. Maybe we can make an anti-character guide or something like that. Who knows? But talk to me in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. I'm going to go grind some more. Peace.